Brashear School was back in session on January 7th after the holiday break and organized their first blood drive of the new year on the 15th. Thanks to all who made it a success. For their first game after the Christmas break, the Lady Tigers hosted Marion County. Brashear scored first and went to work building a 25-10 lead by halftime. The third quarter saw Marion County chip away at the Tiger lead, and the game was tied 29-29 in the early fourth quarter. Brashear managed to regain the lead and held on for a 40-36 win. Alexa Higgins scored 16 points for Brashear. Kinley White had 13, Hannah Grissom had 9, and Tana Garlock scored 2 points. The Tigers wasted no time building an early lead on Marion County Thursday night as they took a 44-14 lead into halftime. Brashear didn't slow down in the second half as they stretched out their lead for an 84-42 win. Brandon Jockinson scored 45 points for Brashear. Garrett Hausman had 22, Lucas Keller had 7, Austin Peterson had 3, Fisher Reese had 2, Jay Snelling had 2, Cody Mallett had 2, and Landon Fisher scored 1 point. The Tigers were at the Milan tournament Monday to face Nottinger. Nottinger built a small lead in the early going. Brashear pulled ahead 12-11 after the first quarter and had a 28-13 lead at halftime. Brashear held on to the lead during the second half and finished with a 58-40 win. Brandon Jockinson scored 28 points, Garrett Hausman had 13, Quinn Allen had 12, Jay Snelling had 3, and Cody Mallett had 2 points. The Lady Tigers played their first round Milan tournament game with Lynn County Tuesday. The game was a seesaw battle the whole way. Lynn County held a 13-10 lead after one quarter, with Brashear leading 19-16 at halftime. The lead continued to change hands in the second half, with Lynn County finishing on top by a score of 43-40. Alexa Higgins had 14 points for Brashear, Kinley White had 11, Tana Garlock scored 6, Callie Altide had 5, Hannah Grissom had 2, and Abby Hartwig also had 2 points. The Brashear Lady Tigers suffered through a tough first half in their consolation semifinal game with Buckland-Macon County at the Milan tournament. Brashear trailed by as much as 10 in the early going, but had taken a 33-32 lead at halftime. The second half was a totally different story as Brashear pulled away for a 66-45 win. Hannah Grissom had 24 points for Brashear, Kinley White had 19, Alexa Higgins had 13, Tana Garlock had 6, and Callie Altide scored 4 points. After beating second seed Nottinger in the first round of the Milan tournament, 7th seeded Brashear took on Marceline Wednesday. Brashear took an early lead and maintained it going into halftime, up by a score of 36-30. The game got closer in the second half, with Marceline pulling ahead 48-47 after 3 quarters. The fourth quarter ended with a 67-all tie, but Brashear finally got a 75-73 win in overtime. Brandon Jockinson and Garrett Hausman each scored 23 points for Brashear. Austin Peterson had 20, Quinn Allen had 4, Jay Snelling had 3, and Cody Mallett had 2 points.
Mother Nature kept school closed from Friday, January 17th until it reopened over a week later, on Monday the 27th. Makeup days can be seen on the school calendar at brashear.k12.mo.us. During Monday night's North Shelby games, representatives from Love Green Motors were on hand to deliver a check for $2,060 for the Brashear Student Council. Each year, Love Greens and Ford Motors sponsor a Drive for Your School event where people can earn money for their schools by test driving a new Ford vehicle. Thank you, Love Green and Ford Motors. After bad weather postponed their Friday consolation game, the Brashear Lady Tigers were ready to face Putnam County Monday evening at the Milan tournament. The game was very close the entire way, as Putnam County led 12-10 after one quarter. Brashear was up 25-22 at half, and Putnam County had regained the lead 39-36 after three quarters. Brashear outscored Putnam in the final frame and claimed victory by a score of 55-51. Kinley White had 26, Alexa Higgins had 14, Hannah Grissom 8, Callie Altide 5, and Tana Garlock 8. After winter weather delayed games from Saturday to Monday, the Brashear boys finally faced off with Milan in the championship game of the Milan tournament. Brashear fell behind in the first minutes, but clawed their way back to only trail by a score of 19-17 after the first quarter. Things went downhill for the Tigers as tough defense and hot shooting allowed Milan to take a 67-33 lead at halftime, on their way to an 83-47 win. Brandon Jochimson was named to the all-tournament team for Brashear. Brandon Jochimson had 18, Garrett Hausman had 15, Quinn Allen had 6, and Cody Mallet had 2.
The Brashear girls got off to a terrible start in their game against North Shelby Monday night. Even though the Lady Tigers trailed 23-0 after the first quarter, they went to work and closed the gap to 31-19 by halftime. Brashear continued to gain ground in the second half, tying the game at 46-46 with 3 minutes left to go. Brashear's rally fell apart after that, with North Shelby getting the win 57-48. Hannah Grissom scored 18, Alexa Higgins scored 14, Kinley White scored 12, and Tana Garlock added 3.
The Tigers hosted North Shelby Monday. It was a closely contested game throughout, with Brashear leading 14-9 after the first and North Shelby leading 32-27 at halftime. Both teams held leads in the first three quarters, but North Shelby pulled ahead late in the third and fought off every Tiger run to claim a 68-65 win. Garrett Hausman had 29, Brandon Jochimson had 19, Jay Snelling 9, Austin Peterson 6, and Cody Mallet 2. The Lady Tigers got off to a slow start at Green City Tuesday and fell behind 27-13 after the first quarter and were down 41-13 at halftime. Brashear never really got their offense going and eventually fell by a score of 67-31. Hannah Grissom 8, Tana Garlock 8, Kinley White had 7, Alexa Higgins was 6, Callie Altide had 2. The Brashear Tigers were at Green City Tuesday. The game was competitive from the very start, with Brashear up 13-12 after one quarter and Green City leading 36-32 at halftime. During the second half, Green City managed to take a 10-point lead, and even though Brashear made several runs, pulling to within 2 points at one time, Green City held on for the 77-69 win. Garrett Hausman had 31, Brandon Jochimson had 26, Quinn Allen 7, Jay Snelling 3, and Austin Peterson had 2.
The Brashear chapter of Future Business Leaders of America had a very successful day at district contest Tuesday. 23 students placed in the top 10, with 15 qualifying for state competition April 19th through 21st in Springfield.
Congratulations to Alexa Higgins. Alexa was named the KRXL Athlete of the Week and was presented with a plaque for her achievement. The Brashear Lady Tigers hosted Scotland County Tuesday night. The first quarter was a tough defense battle, with Scotland County taking a 6-2 lead. Scotland County got it hot in the second quarter and had taken a 25-6 lead by halftime. Brashear never got their offense going, and Scotland County won by a final score of 47-18. Alexa Higgins had 5, Callie Altide had 4, Kinley White had 4, Hannah Grissom had 2, Tana Garlick had 2, and Abby Harwick had 1. The Brashear boys wasted no time Tuesday, taking a 10-point lead over Scotland County by the middle of the first quarter, and maintaining it to take a 40-29 lead into halftime. Scotland County closed the gap to 56-52 after 3 quarters and briefly took the lead in the fourth. Brashear railed to retake the lead and held on for a 79-69. Garrett Hausman had 29, Brandon Jockinson had 27, Austin Peterson had 13, Quinn Allen had 8, and Jay Snelling had 2. Last Friday, our 5th grade class had their DARE graduation. DARE stands for Drug Awareness and Resistance Education, and the instruction is to provide by local law enforcement officers. This week has been the 91st annual Brashear tournament, and true to tradition, Mother Nature brought bad weather Wednesday, setting games back a day and causing another day missed of school. This day will be made up on May 4th. We would like to begin our sports with congratulations to Garrett Hausman, who scored his 1,000th point in Keatsville Friday night. Garrett was also named KRXL's Student Athlete of the Week. The Lady Tigers buried Keatsville in the first quarter Friday night, taking a 19-3 lead. Brashear was up by 28-8 by halftime and won by an eventual score of 54-32. Kinley White had 21, Hannah Grissom had 17, Alexa Higgins had 6, Callie Altide had 4, Tana Garlick had 4, and Abby Hartwood had 2.
In Friday night's game with Keatsville, Brashear was outgunned from the start, with Keatsville leading 25-12 after 1 quarter and 54-32 at halftime. Keatsville continued to dominate in the second half and pulled away for a 96-51 win. Brashear's Garrett Hausman scored his 1,000th point during the game. Brandon Jockinson had 15 points for Brashear, Garrett Hausman had 13, Quinn Allen had 8, Austin Peterson had 8, Jay Snelling had 5, and Fisher Reese had 2 points. The Brashear Lady Tigers faced Bevere in their first round game of the Brashear tournament. Brashear took charge early, building a 15-3 lead after 1 quarter and a 25-12 lead at halftime. The Lady Tigers ran the score to 36-18 after 3 quarters as they rolled to a 40-23 win. Alexa Higgins scored 14 points for Brashear, Hannah Grissom had 11, Kinley White had 7, Tana Garlock had 4, Callie Altide had 2, and Abby Hartwood scored 2 points. The Brashear boys hosted the Kirksville freshman team in the first round of the Brashear tournament Monday night. The game was close early, with Brashear holding a 16-14 lead after 1 quarter. Brashear broke the game open in the second and were ahead 40-20 at halftime. Brashear continued to roll in the second half and won 64-33. Brandon Jockinson scored 23 points for Brashear, Garrett Hausman had 17, Austin Peterson had 14, Quinn Allen had 4, Cody Mallett had 4, and Jay Snelling scored 2 points. We would like to congratulate Alexa Higgins on scoring her 1,000th career point in Saturday's third-place game of the Brashear tournament. Alexa went on to score 32 points during that game.
The Brashear Lady Tigers fell behind in their Thursday game with Kirksville JV and trailed 24-19 at halftime. By late in the third quarter, Brashear took a small lead and the game was a back-and-forth battle to the end with Kirksville JV finally coming out on top, 42-40. Alexa Higgins had 18, Kinley White had 10, Hannah Grissom had 9, and Tana Garlock had 3. The Brashear boys faced Novinger Thursday in the second round action at the Brashear tournament. Novinger was ahead 22-20 after one quarter, but Brashear had taken a 46-40 lead at halftime. Brashear held onto the lead until late in the game when Novinger came from behind to claim an 89-86 win. Brandon Jochimson had 29, Garrett Hausman had 22, Austin Peterson had 17, Jay Snelling had 12, and Quinn Allen had 6. The Lady Tigers faced Higbee in the third-place game of the Brashear tournament Saturday. Higbee took an early lead, but Brashear had a 22-18 lead by halftime. Brashear had a strong second half and pulled away for a 62-44 win and a third-place trophy. During the game, Alexa Higgins scored her 1,000th career point and finished with 32 points on the night. Alexa Higgins had 32, Hannah Grissom had 12, Kinley White had 8, Tana Garlock had 6, Callie Altide had 2, and Abby Hartwick had 2. The Brashear boys faced Higbee in the Brashear tournament third-place game Saturday. Brashear took the early lead and were up 32-26 at halftime. Higbee chipped away at the lead and tied the game 68-all at the end of regulation. Brashear outscored Higbee 9-3 in overtime to claim the win and a third-place trophy. Garrett Hausman had 37, Brandon Jochimson had 17, Austin Peterson had 16, Jay Snelling had 7. The Lady Tigers were at Buckham, Macon County Tuesday. Brashear jumped out to a 14-3 lead and were up 26-11 by halftime. The Lady Tigers had a huge 26-point third quarter and coasted to a 52-23 victory. Alexa Higgins had 16, Tana Garlock had 10, Kinley White had 9, Callie Altide had 8, Hannah Grissom had 7, and Abby Hartwick had 2. The Tigers were on the road at Buckland Tuesday to face Buckham, Macon County. Brashear got off to a slow start and trailed 15-12 after one quarter, but had taken a 30-23 lead by halftime. Brashear kept their momentum in the second half and won by a score of 71-45. Garrett Hausman had 35, Austin Peterson had 17, Quinn Allen had 10, Cody Mallett had 4, Fisher Reese had 3, and Jay Snelling had 2. Breakfast was served downtown at the Keller Building Wednesday morning for students who made the Renaissance list. Students are selected for Renaissance based upon a combination of good grades, attendance, and deportment.
Last Thursday night was senior night at BHS. Each senior and their parents were introduced to the crowd and honored between games.
Friday night was homecoming for BHS. Candidates for Prince and Princess and King and Queen were introduced to the crowd before the coronation. Congratulations to Prince and Princess Landon Fisher and Lacey Fisher, and to King and Queen Quinn Allen and Avery Acton. At last Thursday night's game, Garrett Hausman was recognized for being selected as KRXL's Athlete of the Week. Alexa Higgins was recognized at last Friday night's game for also being the KRXL Athlete of the Week. This is the second time Alexa has received this honor this season. Thursday night was senior night at the Brashear Lady Tigers hosted Novinger. A familiar number 33 was on the court to start the game for Brashear. Avery Atkins suited up for the first time since the knee injury, ended her season in December, and made a ceremonial first layup with Novinger, then making their ceremonial first layup to start the real action at 2-2. Novinger held a 13-12 lead after one quarter, but Bashir took a 33-20 lead by halftime and cruised to a 49-37 win. Kinley White had 12, Alexa Higgins had 8, Tana Garlock had 8, Hannah Grissom had 8, Callie Altide had 6, Abby Hartwig had 5, and Avery Acton had 2. Brashear had a tough opponent as they hosted Novinger for senior night Thursday. Brashear only trailed 18-15 after one quarter, but Novinger scored 29 in the second quarter to take a 47-27 lead into halftime. The Tigers never gave up, but lost by a final score of 81-63. Garrett Hausman had 24, Quinn Allen had 20, Austin Peterson had 7, Jay Snelling had 6, and Cody Mallett had 6. The Brashear Lady Tigers hosted Bevere for homecoming. Brashear got off to a quick start, leading 14-4 after one quarter, and 30-17 at halftime. Brashear continued to roll into the second half and claimed a 56-30 victory. Alexa Higgins had 24, Hannah Grissom had 12, Tana Garlock had 9, Kinley White had 7, Callie Altide had 2, Aubrey Blything had 2. The Tigers had to battle hard with the visiting Bevere squad on homecoming night Friday. At the end of a close first half, Bevere led 17-15. Brashear came out fired up for the second half and took a 27-23 lead after three quarters on their way to a 40-35 win. Garrett Hausman had 17, Austin Peterson had 13, Quinn Allen had 8, and Cody Mallett had 2.
The Lady Tigers played La Plata in the first round district game Monday. Brashear got off to a 14-8 lead after one quarter, but La Plata's offense heated up as they surged ahead 26-22 at halftime. La Plata had another high-scoring quarter in the third, and Brashear couldn't catch up as La Plata won 51-42. Alexa Higgins scored 18 points for Brashear, Hannah Grissom had 16, Callie Altide had 8, and Abby Hartwig had 2 points.
Brashear faced North Shelby in the first round of district play Tuesday. The Tigers couldn't match North Shelby's shooting and fell behind 47-23 by halftime. North Shelby came out just as hot after halftime and put the game away by a score of 77-43. Quinn Allen scored 14, Garrett Hausman had 13, Austin Peterson had 10, Brandon Jochimson had 4, and Jay Snelling scored twice.
Last Friday, the Brashear Band traveled to Central Methodist University where they received a 1 rating. This is the fourth consecutive year the band has scored a 1 rating. Congratulations to Ashton Way. Ashton was recently honored by the Kirksville Optimist Club as Student of the Month. The Brashear chapter of the National Honor Society held their annual induction ceremonies last Thursday. Congratulations to new members Austin Ray and Quinn Allen. Tuesday was the Missouri statewide tornado drill. Brashear students took part in this drill by heading to designated safe areas and waiting for the all clear. This is one of a variety of safety drills held throughout the school year. The academic bowl season kicked off Thursday as Brashear hosted Novinger and La Plata. The JH beat Novinger 280-50 and the La Plata 280-90. The high school beat Novinger 310-240, but lost to La Plata 160-170. On Monday, the BHS track and baseball teams began practice for the spring season. The first baseball game is March 24th, and the first track meet is March 26th. This has been a busy week for the BHS Band. On Tuesday, 6 members of the band went on a concert tour with the Tri-County All-Conference Band, and on Thursday, the full band competed in the Missouri Small School Band Directors Association competition, where they received a 1 rating.
The Brashear Academic Bowl teams were back in action Wednesday as they traveled to Bevier. The junior high picked up a pair of wins, beating Atlanta 290-70 and Bevier 290-180. The high school team beat Atlanta 270-140, but lost to Bevier 190-290.
A lot of things have changed at BHS and in the world since our last newscast on March 13th. The hallways, classrooms, and ball field have been empty. On Monday, March 16th, Superintendent Shelley Shipman called an assembly to speak to the students and staff about the COVID-19 outbreak. Area school officials and health officials had met to discuss the crisis, and most schools across the state suspended in-school classes. A few days later, the governor announced that all schools across the state were to be closed until the beginning of May. That order was later revised to keep schools closed until the end of the year. Even though the students are not here in the building, classes have continued through online instruction, worksheet packets, and teleconferencing. The administrative and maintenance staffs have been at work, and the cafeteria is busy as Kathy and crew are preparing up to 80 meals a day to keep our students fed via meal pickups in the school parking lot. The Central and Northeast Missouri Food Pantry also sent a truckload of food on May 5th for any community members who needed food. It has been an especially hard time for this year's seniors. The remainder of academic bowl season, spring baseball, track, and prom have all been canceled. It remains to be seen if a live in-person graduation can be held along with possibly rescheduling prom to midsummer. People have been honoring graduating seniors by recognition on social media, and area athletic fields have been turning on their lights on Friday nights to honor the athletes who have been robbed of their seasons. Despite many changes in plans due to the coronavirus outbreak, our FBLA students were able to compete in district competition and several advanced to state competition where John Gerhold took third in agribusiness, Hannah Grissom took 7th in accounting 1, and Madeline McGinnis took 10th in public speaking 2. John Gerhold scored high enough in state competition to qualify for the national FBLA competition where he placed 9th. On May 17th, the 2020 graduating class of Brashear High School held their commencement ceremony. With guidance from the Adair County Health Department and social distancing precautions, the event was held in person. Shelley Shipman made the opening remarks and Tammy Walter gave the commencement address for the 18 seniors. Tana Garlock and Austin Ray were named valedictorian and salutatorian. Although prom was delayed by the COVID-19 virus, the anticipated event was finally held on June the 6th. To allow parents, family, and community members to see the students in a socially distanced manner, the Grand March was held on the sidewalk in front of the school. After the dance, the group was bused to after prom at Scotty's in Quincy.